I am the first and I am the last, and beside me there is no God. Hear it not as distant thunder on Sinai, but as the word that now forms itself upon your very breath. I in the midst of you am mighty, not afar, not above, not locked in history, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. If there be but one God, one presence, one power, then the beginning of our way is not our effort to climb to heaven, but the recognition that heaven is at hand in the eye that is your very life. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. That is the safety before the sight. Safety precedes insight. Do you catch it? The heart cannot see while it trembles. The eyes of spirit open where fear has been quieted by presence. So we stand, not to argue doctrine, but to rest in a promise already sworn, I am that I am. Before Abraham was, I am. One presence, one power. Now, could you just for a moment say the word I softly, without attaching it to a name, a role, a story? Say it. I. Do you notice it is not far off? It does not travel across the world to reach you. It rises from within you without distance. Again, gently. I. Let that single syllable do its own witnessing. There is a hush there, a weight, a rightness. This is the threshold of awakening. Not the fireworks of emotion, but the simple discovery that the I, which says I is holy. We ask then the honest question, what are the real signs of awakening beyond emotional highs, beyond the peaks and valleys that stir the nerves and then leave us weary? Scripture does not promise excitements. Scripture promises presence. Be still and know that I am God. Take no thought for your life. Why? Because the life is taking thought for you. The I within you goes before you to make the crooked places straight. Beloved, let us make a compact of trust. You are not being asked to believe in a God somewhere. You are being invited to recognize God here as the animating I of your being. If there is only one power, then there is no other power to fear, no second cause to appease, no rival to struggle against. God, God, God. Say it inwardly until the mind bows and the heart unclenches. And now, hush a moment. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth, not to get, not to persuade, but to acknowledge, I in the midst of you am mighty. This is the promise that begins the journey. From this nearness, all the true signs unfold in their season. But first, let the promise do its work. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Be still and know. Not fireworks, beloved, fear leaving the body. That is the first reversal. It is I. Be not afraid. Hear it as now, not as a line from a story long ago. Awakening is not a sky crowded with spiritual rockets. It is the slow unclenching of the stomach, the loosening of the jaw, the breath that lengthens without your managing it. It is the nerves no longer jumping at shadows because the heart has remembered a presence. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. When the I is acknowledged, something in you stops bracing. You are not trying to win safety. You are discovering it was never absent. We have all, in our immaturity, looked for signs that impress the senses, lights, thrills, tears. And there may be tears, yes, but even those are not the substance. God is not a stimulant. God is the only life. The proof is not spikes, but steadiness. Jesus did not say, stir thyself into a frenzy. He said, take no thought for your life. He was not being careless. He was revealing that panic closes the door, that rest opens. When the mind ceases taking thought, the I that is closer than breathing assumes its own government, and fear, which always feeds on our self-management, loses its food. Let us talk plainly about the driver in human life, fear. Fear of lack, fear of disease, fear of loss, fear of reputation, fear of death. It is the whip hand of the world, and it has trained us to run. But I tell you, with the authority of Scripture and the witness of grace, its rope is cut when the only power is recognized. I am the Lord, and there is none else. If there is none else, then there is no second power to threaten. Perfect love casteth out fear, not by wrestling it to the ground, but by leaving it nothing to grasp. Love is presence realized. Presence leaves fear unemployed. Now try this softly where you are. Do not battle the sensation you call anxiety. Simply stop and let the word I form itself within, without attachment or demand. I do not chase results. Just behold. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Say it within, thou art with me, and notice, not firework, but a hush beginning. That hush is the gate. The earliest authentic sign is not ecstasy. It is the quiet ebbing of fear. And when fear shows its mask tomorrow or tonight, do not argue. Do not advise God. Be still and know. Return to the inner eye and let it answer its own name. It is I. Be not afraid. Stand there. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Rest where panic would have you hurry, and you will find the wind changes of itself. God, God, God. The one that is here dissolves the tremor, and you discover you are carried, not by effort, but by presence. Now we must ask, who is the one that hears, be not afraid? Not the frightened personality made of yesterday's memories and tomorrow's guesses, but the I that antedates them all. Before Abraham was, I am. Thus saith the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb. Fear not. The same I that formed you accompanies you, not a visitor, an essence, not sometimes, always. I in the midst of you am mighty. This is identity, not a theory to admire, but a presence to recognize. In him we live and move and have our being. Therefore, awakening is not an addition to you. It is the subtraction of the false, so that what has eternally been true may be seen. Identity shifts from a self who manages to the I, that is. Now, could you again gently say the word I, but slower than before, and let it fall from mouth to heart? Say it without surname, without history. I. Do not make it say anything. Let it say itself. Notice that it is not the ego voice striving for position. It is life pronouncing its own name, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Let the syllable descend as a weight of rightness in the chest, or like a quiet warmth at the base of the skull. Be still and know. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. When the word I is heard there, not at the surface but at the center, it ceases to be your private pronoun and becomes holy ground. From this center, withdraw your vision from the circumference. Never let your eye go outside for God, help, or cause. Not to person, place, or thing, not to horoscope, headline, or bank book. The kingdom of God cometh not with observation. For behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Lift up your eyes, yes, but lift them inward to the eye that is your life. God, God, God. Keep the mind from roaming the marketplace of effects. Rest it in the one cause. As you do, the strings that tied you to outcomes quietly release, and with them the agitation goes. You will find decisions simplified because you are not consulting opinions, but presence. He performeth that which is appointed for me. And then a marvel. It does not merely comfort, it governs. In time, no, in grace, it takes over your whole consciousness, and you do not live any more as the anxious planner. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. The same I that said, I am, before Abraham was, now lives itself as you're seeing, you're speaking, you're moving. This is why we are told, take no thought for your life, because the life has assumed its own management. You become transparency rather than author, beholder rather than builder. And in that yielding, fear has no foothold, because the only presence and power has come to the foreground of your own name. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Let that be heard in the heart, and let it do its living through you. Why, then, does fear dissolve first? Because threat requires a rival. Where one fills all, two cannot stand. I am the Lord, and there is none else. God, the only power of the universe. Only power. Not majority power, not superior power, only power. Fear is always a child of the two-power belief, the imagination of a second cause that can oppose the Holy One. But if there be no second cause, what sustains the shadow? God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. When light is present, darkness is not pushed out. It is shown never to have substance. So the first reversal is not bravado, it is the vanishing of an unsupported claim. You see, fear thrives in the marketplace of cause and effect. If this, then that. If they, then I. If time runs out, then loss. This mechanistic chain is the liturgy of the natural man, but grace cancels it. Be still and know that I am God. Be still, and the chain breaks. Grace is not an improved law. Grace is the presence that renders law moot. He performeth the thing that is appointed for me. Under grace, life initiates and fulfills itself. Therefore, the anxious sequences that seem to demand your vigilance lose authority. Take no thought for your life is not carelessness. It is a command to step out of causality into presence. Now, understand how fear eats. It does not feed on God. It feeds on images, projections, and suggestions. A headline, a memory, a prognosis, an old photograph of failure. These are its rations. At dusk, a coil of rope appears a serpent until the lamp is brought, snakes and pink elephants, phantoms of suggestions. God is of purer eyes than to behold evil. The Holy One does not confirm the picture our nerves paint. What dissolves the picture? Not argument, not effort, presence. It is I, be not afraid. Let us for a minute prove the principle in quiet. Do not fix anything. Do not improve anything. Let the body breathe as it will. On the out-breath, not with lips, but within, let the word I form itself and fall to the heart. I, again, softer, I. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. No pushing, no counting, only a relaxed noticing that the syllable is closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Be still and know. Do you sense it? A slackening of the cord the mind had wrapped around tomorrow. A weight slipping from the shoulders without negotiation. That is not suggestion. That is nearness. And in nearness, fear cannot anchor, because there is no second power to fasten to. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thou art with me. There is the whole gospel of fearlessness. The one here leaves no place for a rival anywhere. God, 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 only power. And therefore, the threat, which was never more than a voice without breath, falls silent. Peace comes first, beloved, before any outer ledger is balanced, before any test returns, before a face changes or a door opens. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Not as the world, there is the mark. The world's peace depends on outcomes. The Christ peace depends on presence. So do not be surprised when, while the facts on paper remain exactly as they were an hour ago, the air around you has softened. The room is the same room. The phone has not rung, yet something has taken the weight out of the atmosphere. That something is not a thing. It is someone. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Peace is the native climate of that I, and it establishes itself as the first stable sign. In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Hear it now as description, not aspiration. Quietness and confidence become muscular, not dreamy. They hold you upright in the very place where nerves used to collapse. You are not trying to paste calmness over concern. You are discovering a calm that was never threatened. The field changes, then forms, in their time and in their order, arrange themselves within that field. Be still and know. When knowing dawns, the wind drops, though the sea may look the same. He leadeth me beside the still waters. The waters are still before the path is mapped. Our protocol, then, is simple and exact. Drop the patient and the condition. Become a beholder, not a fixer. Sit down inside your own name and let the case go out of the room. Do not bring charts, symptoms, balances, or histories into the sanctuary. Close the door. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet. Whisper, if you must, a single holy statement: God, the only power, I in the midst of me, doeth the works. Then stop. No advising God, no rescuing. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. In that listening, you are not waiting for signs. You are allowing the climate to declare itself. The beholder beholds. The eye performs. Never look for results. That is law in this way. Results watching drags you back into the marketplace of cause and effect. Peace is the resultless result of presence. It is what remains when effort retires. How do you know it is genuine? You forget to check. The compulsion to monitor loosens. A softness comes into the breath, a rightness into the hour. You move without push. You speak without hurry. You decide without debate. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Lightness is the signature of grace. So let peace establish the field today. Carry it into phone calls, kitchens, corridors, accounts, and sick rooms, not to fix, but to behold. Stand in quietness and confidence. Let the only power announce itself as atmosphere, and watch how appearances bow to climate without your management. God, 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 not as the world giveth, peace. When peace settles, the air clears for hearing. Guessing is noisy, guidance is quiet. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. Not a trumpet from the clouds, but the still small word in the midst. I. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. This is the shift from planning to hearing. Planning, in the old way, was fear in disguise, counting possibilities. Hearing is confidence in presence, receiving the next step. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Not some of thy ways, all. And the directing is not your straining, it is his proceeding. He performeth the thing that is appointed for me. Do you see how grace moves? It does not hand you a map for 10 years. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. A lamp for feet is enough light for the next placement, not a searchlight for the horizon. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works, and he doeth them by indicating gently the immediate obedience. You will notice the character of this inner nudge. Simple, undramatic, unhurried. Turn here, wait 5 minutes, bring the blue folder, delete that sentence, say nothing, make the call now. The ego asks for reasons, the I gives directions. The reasons often come afterward, if they come at all. The peace comes at once. Practice it in little things until it becomes your way. Before sending the email, pause 3 breaths and incline the heart. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Then listen not for a voice in syllables, but for a wait, a lean, a restraint, a green light. If nothing comes, do the plain next right thing and refuse to dramatize. If a quiet reluctance arises, honor it. If a clear ease appears, proceed. Keep humility. Do not announce to yourself, I am being guided. Keep it secret between the I and itself. Take no thought for your life. Release the mental proofs and follow the inner rightness. Never look for results. Look to presence. I will tell you how this looks. I was once scheduled for a late flight to Honolulu. The car was at the curb, the bags were zipped, and the clock said, go inside. A soft, no, not yet, not fear, stillness. I sat down, absurd as that felt to the schedule, and whispered, be still and know. 5 minutes, then a clear. Now we left. At the airport, the usual route to the gate was blocked, and a new corridor had opened, leading past the service desk where, unbidden, the agent called my name. A weather diversion had just been posted, and there was a single seat on an earlier connection through which I arrived hours sooner and with ease. No fireworks, just a path that logic had not foreseen, arranged while I sat still. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye. This is not fortune-telling, this is government by presence. As fear recedes, guidance appears naturally in the silence that remains. Keep the listening attitude through the day as you would keep your breath unforced, constant, inward. God, God, God. Acknowledge in all thy ways, and let the I within go before you to make the crooked places straight. The word will come as weight, as rightness, as a closing of the lips or an opening of the hand. And the works, he doeth them. You, beloved, abide and hear. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. When hearing ripens, beloved, it flowers as non-reaction. Resist not evil. Do you hear that as indifference? No. It is instruction in power. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Non-reaction is not apathy, nor cowardice, nor a frozen smile. It is spiritual poise that refuses to crown an appearance with your belief. It is the strength of one who knows there is only one power, and therefore will not take the bait of the second. You become a beholder, not a battler. The battler feeds the show with argument, the beholder withdraws fuel, and the show dims. All appearance feeds on attention granted as reality. Grant it your fear, your outrage, your anxious inspection, and you mortgage your peace to it. But hold your peace in the presence. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, and the mirage finds no heat to rise from. How do we stay the mind in the eye when disturbed? Here is your 3-beat reset. God, God, God. Not as magic syllables, but as a returning of the heart to the one. Then, quietly, look through the claim as through mist to the eye in the midst. Rope that looked like a serpent becomes rope in the light. So with this report, this mood, this sound. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. In relationships, this is your shield. A sharp word flies across the table. The old self is already loading its reply. Stop. 3 beats. God, God, God. Do not grant the sting reality. Do not dress it in titles. Behold the I that lives in the one before you and in you. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? Stay 1 breath longer than the habit of retort. Often, astonishingly, The atmosphere changes. The other's face softens. The hook falls to the floor. A soft answer turneth away wrath. But note, softness here is not strategy. It is overflow from non-reaction. Headlines arrive with drums and flashing lights. Famine, pestilence, markets falling. Refuse the bait. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. There is no law against your inward returning. God, God, God. I in the midst is the climate, the news is weather. Keep the mind stayed. Let presence classify what the senses dramatize. So also with symptoms, a twinge, a diagnosis, an old fear. Do not argue with body or book. Drop the patient and the condition. Become a beholder. Sit down within your own name and listen. I am the Lord that healeth thee. He sent his word and healed them. In that hearing, the threat that fattened itself on your scrutiny thins and passes. This way unties knots without a speech. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken and we are escaped. Even enemies of yesterday turn to peace, not by your cleverness, but by the absence of your combat. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Keep this practice hidden in plain sight. 3 beats into God, then behold. Refuse the bait in relationships. Refuse it in headlines. Refuse it in symptoms. Hold your peace. The eye within doeth the works. And you, beloved, stand and see. Out of non-reaction is born something the world mistakes for power, but which is in truth presence, recognized, quiet authority. Not volume, do you hear? Not the pounding of a table, not a parade of arguments, but a stillness that speaks. Where the word of a king is, there is power, and the king here is the eye within, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. When that eye is foregrounded, speech becomes sacrament. A single phrase, even a single breath, carries weight. You will notice it in your house, your office, your own bloodstream. The atmosphere answers a word that did not originate in anxiety. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Do you recall the master in the boat? No shouting match with the elements, no debate with the wind, only peace, be still. That is authority, the quiet command of one power acknowledged and yielded to within. And sometimes it is not even syllables. Sometimes it is a felt word, an inward assent that ripples outward as order. The tone of heaven settles into the room, and the clamor forgets its lines. You are not asserting, you are consenting. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. You let the word be what it eternally is, creative, steady, faithful, and you do not dress it in strain. Here is your inward posture when moved to speak or to hold silence. The eye within me goes before me to make the crooked places straight. Say it softly, not to persuade, but to align. Then wait one breath longer than habit. If a word rises, let it be simple and spare. Peace. Enough now. Thank you. If restraint rises, honor it. Let silence do the speaking. Quiet authority does not hurry to rescue appearances. It beholds and allows the only power to announce itself as form. He sent his word and healed them. He sent, we did not shove. Notice, too, the fruit of this authority. Ease. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. When the word carries weight, you do not. You find you are not trying to convince children, colleagues, conditions, or your own nerves. You are resting in the already yes of God. Let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, yea to what is given, nay to what is bait. The more you lean into the I, the fewer syllables you need, and the more substance those syllables bear. A whisper placed by grace stills a storm that 10 lectures could not calm. Practice this secretly. Before entering a room, pause at the threshold and know, I in the midst of me am mighty. God, God, God. Then cross over. You will sense at times a subtle rightness, a spiritual gravitas that accompanies you. It is not personality, it is presence. Do not magnify it as yours. Do not merchandise it. Do not even talk about it. Be faithful to the listening. And when the word comes, spoken or unspoken, let it be clean. Let it be gentle. Let it be final. For where one power is recognized, the crookedness cannot stand. It must straighten under grace. And you, beloved, need only consent. Be still and know that I am God. Peace, be still. Grace, beloved, is not a varnish on law. It is another government. The law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus hath made me free from the law of sin and death. Hear that as now. A state of grace banishes, annihilates, wipes out physical law, mental law, law of cause and effect as governing powers. Why? Because one presence is here, and one leaves no rival to run the clock, to enforce the deadlines, to frighten with what if. I am the Lord, and there is none else. Under grace, life unfolds by presence, not pressure. Take no thought for your life. Take no thought for the timetable, the outcomes, the quotas. Take thought only for God. God, 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 be still and know. The I in the midst of you is mighty, and the mightiness is this. It cancels the tyranny of sequences. He performeth the thing that is appointed for me. You will discover, almost shyly at first, that where you once pushed, you are carried. Doors that stuck under effort swing as you arrive. Doors not yours remain closed without offense. Timing arranges itself as if an unseen hand had run ahead of you, because it has. The I within me goes before me to make the crooked places straight. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. The calendar that used to glare relaxes. The clock that whipped your nerves loses its tongue. Emails answer themselves. The person you feared to call rings you. The place you dreaded to enter greets you with ease. And you smile, not a triumphal grin, but a relieved, childlike smile. Oh, so that's how grace does it, yes. And if you keep at this a day or two, well, in a week you'll be hooked, happily so, on the only habit that unhooks you from all the rest. Here is your practice. Begin nothing, no sentence, no purchase, no yes, no no, until the inner click, the simple assent of presence, is felt. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, a lamp for the next step, not a searchlight for 10 miles. Wait one breath longer than habit. Whisper within, speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. If fear shouts, do it now, or else you will know that is not the shepherd. The shepherd's voice carries peace even in urgency. Move only on peace. If the click does not come, do the plain next right thing without drama and leave results to God. Never look for results. Look for the I. Under grace there are no emergencies. There are only invitations to trust. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. I have watched it in supermarkets and sick rooms, in board meetings and border crossings. A line 20 deep thins while you quietly say, God, God, God. A nurse appears with an opening. A supervisor, flinty all week, softens at your knock. A bridge that was out is found to have a side road prepared since last year for just such a day. What changed? The beholder returned to the one and refused the governor of pressure. Surely, good. So live beyond cause and effect by living in cause alone. Withdraw your faith from schedules as saviors, from strategies as gods, from adrenaline as energy. Rest the heart in I. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. The kingdom is order under grace. Begin everything with the inner click, and let the only power arrange the hour. Presence, not pressure. Grace, not grind. Be still and know. Beloved, if grace is another government, then sight under grace must be another seeing. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil, and canst not look on iniquity. Hear it as present fact. God is too pure to behold iniquity. Therefore, anything parading as evil, as second power, as rival cause, is without divine substance, an appearance, a suggestion, a hypnosis in human sense. We do not deny that it appears. We deny that it derives from God. And in withdrawing its pedigree, we undo its claim. I am the Lord, and there is none else. If there is none else, then the threat lacks origin, law, and life. Sight correction is not fixing a thing. It is refusing a lie, its certificate of reality. You know this already in small ways. At dusk, a coil of rope is a serpent while your lamp is absent. Bring the light, and you do not kill a snake, you discover rope. Pink elephants on the wall, the child rubs her eyes, the picture melts, and no funeral is needed for elephants that never lived. The ancients understood this. Under the tree of awakening, when the tempter's armies raised banners in clamor, the Blessed One touched the earth and beheld, and the pageant, starved of belief, dissipated like mist in sun. So with us, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is the beholding of God alone. Therefore, our protocol remains simple and exact. When a report, a symptom, a headline, a memory flares, do not take the bait. Drop the patient and the condition. Become only a beholder. Close the door. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet. No case notes, no pleading, no argument. Whisper a single true word, God, the only power. God, God, God. Then be silent and listen. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Let the image that has been borrowing life from your fear find no more oxygen. Do not strain to erase it. Starve it by turning wholly to presence. Be still and know. Often there comes, unannounced, a soft click. The picture loses weight. The room lightens. The breath forgets to labor. That is not will, that is light. The light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Understand, we are not moving images on the screen. We are removing the false bulb in the projector. Seeing through the claim as appearance dissolves the fear that seemed to power it. Afterward, forms often arrange differently, yes, but never look for results. Keep your eye single. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Use this sight everywhere. A balance sheet grimaces God, God, God. And listen, a headline shouts, behold the eye in the midst, and let the weather pass before the climate. A memory of failure returns, do not duel. Enter the closet and hold to the only. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Lift up thine eyes within, not without, and let the one presence classify what the senses dramatize. The rope is rope again. The room is safe again. The day has room again. And you, beloved, walk on, not as a fixer of phantoms, but as transparency for the light that unmasks them. Be still and know. God, the only power. Only power. Beloved, if the rope was never a serpent, then laying hold of it as Savior or Slayer is the same error. So now we come to resting the arms, both the weapons of argument and the human arms that have been trying to hold the world up. Cease ye from man, whose breath is in his nostrils. Not contempt for people, but release from idolatry. Withdraw our faith and reliance from persons, from possessions, from practices as sources. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights. The channel may be your employer, your client, your market, your physician, your friend, but the source is I. I in the midst of you am mighty. Finances first. Since money likes to pose as a god, do not marry your heart to paychecks, accounts, or investors as cause. They are pipes through which the living water may flow this week. The fountain is God. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Say it as present fact. Then consent to let the channel be what it is, changeable, and the source be what he is, changeless. When a stream bed dries, do not panic at sand. Lift the eyes to the hills. God, God, God. Some trust in chariots and some in horses. But we will remember the name of the Lord our God, remembering his supply. So also with health, vitamins, rest, physicians, treatments, use them if you are led, but never bow to them as life. Life is God. I am the Lord that healeth thee. The body is a servant, spirit is health. If you are to take a remedy, take it without fear. If you are to lay it aside without bravado. In both cases, your reliance is the same. I in the midst doeth the works. The fear line is cut when the source line is clear. And in relationships, oh, what anxious worship has been rendered to moods and texts, to promises and disappointments. Perfect love casteth out fear, because love is God. Refuse to enthrone a face as your joy or your security. Let people be holy channels for the one presence you already are beholding. When they come, bless. When they go, bless. The continuity of love does not break when a channel shifts its course. Here is our boundary in practice, exact and kind. Leave the problem at the door. Enter only with God awareness. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet. Do not bring the bill, the lab report, the quarrel into the sanctuary. Close the door on externals as sources. Whisper, God, the only power, God, God, God. Then be silent and listen. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. If a word is given, call this person. Send that note. Obey without clutching. If no word is given, rest without scheming. Put up again thy sword into his place. Rest thee on. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Never look for results. Results belong to grace and arrive unannounced. Like rain on a field you had ceased to measure. Watch neither clouds nor soil. Keep the heart in eye. He performeth the thing that is appointed for me. When externals are released as sources, the fuel line of anxiety is removed. Pressure loses its jurisdiction. Presence governs. And you, beloved, walk lightly fed, healed, companioned under the quiet government of the only. Be still and know. Now let us come to the simple method by which all this moves from talk to life. It is not a technique to make God do. It is an introduction again and again of our awareness to the presence that already is. 2 parts only, beloved. First, holy statements that anchor the mind in truth. Second, silence that lets the truth announce itself. The statements are not charms, they are doorways. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Be still, and know that I am God. I in the midst of you am mighty. Say them as present fact, not as hope. Then stop, withdraw speech, and let the I govern. He performeth the thing that is appointed for me. Let us do it now, quietly and together. Close your eyes. Gently bring your attention home, not out there, in here. Softly speak the word I. Again, with reverence, I. Now a triad, God, God, God. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Be still and know that I am God. I in the midst of you am mighty. Say each once more, tenderly, as if speaking from within the heart rather than from the lips. Now lay words down. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. We will keep a common stillness, 60 seconds, 90, perhaps not timing, simply consenting. In this quiet, we open out a way for the imprisoned splendor to escape. Do not manage this silence, receive it. If a click comes as if something settled into place, notice and let it be. If a warmth spreads in the chest or palms, welcome it without naming. If a weight slips off the shoulders, do not chase it. Thank God and rest. And if there is nothing perceivable, no sign at all, remain at peace. The shepherd is not made present by your sensations. Lo, I am with you always. We are not hunting experiences, we are yielding government. Never look for results. Keep your mind stayed, your heart consenting, your breath unforced. God, God, God. Now, as we rise from the hush, do you sense how the air has become kind? No one of us accomplished this. Presence revealed and regulated without our managing. This is the law of the inner life. Statements turn the key. Listening opens the door. The I comes forth and does the works. You may receive a simple word, wait, call, forgive, rest, or nothing at all, which is itself instruction. Continue in peace. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, one step, not 10. The step taken in this climate is kept under grace. Carry this method into the day. 2 minutes at dawn, 1 at noon, again at night, once or twice will become 3 times, and then you are gladly owned by the practice. Begin with holy truth, I will never leave thee. Seal with holy quiet, be still and know. Maintain the listening attitude as you move, and let the I in the midst reveal and regulate, arrange and sustain without your strain. Closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, only presence, only power, peace. We rise from the hush not to leave it, but to let it walk us through the sink, the street, the screen, the door. Keep the mind lightly stayed on God, lightly, not with strain, as a face turns towards sunlight without measuring lumen. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed is not clenched, it is inclined. As your hands reach for the keys or the kettle, let a soft inward triad keep you. God, God, God. Not as magic as memory. I in the midst of you am mighty. That is your climate now. Carry the field into tasks. Do not try to carry tasks into God. When fear spikes, and sometimes it will try a last shout, make it simple and kind. Do not argue with the thought. Do not cross-examine the pulse. Return God, God, God. Whisper within, speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. The shepherd has not moved, and you need not run after him. Lo, I am with you always. A deadline bares its teeth. A voice within answers. Peace, be still. A symptom parades. You do not salute. You behold the eye. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Sight will report weather. Faith abides in climate, and climate wins. Here is the manner of walking after attunement. Process over outcome. Never check the scoreboard. Do not peer back over your shoulder at the field to see if lilies have grown since breakfast. Take no thought for your life, take thought for God. God, God, God. Consent and follow. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. Feet, not horizon. One step given, one step taken, and grace holds the ground under that step. If you find the mind calculating, will this work? How soon? In what form? Smile gently, lay the questions down, and return to the simple knowing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works, he performeth the thing that is appointed for me. Outcomes belong to grace. Obedience belongs to you. Make this a holy habit, not an ordeal. Once or twice a day becomes 3 times. And then you find yourself returning between returns, a joyful compulsion, like breathing a kinder air. Before the meeting, a breath into I. Between emails, 3 beats, God, God, God. At the crosswalk, be still and know. In the night watch, when I awake, I am still with thee. If you forget for an hour or a day, do not condemn yourself. Merely notice you were watching the scoreboard again and come home. There is therefore now no condemnation. Home is 1 breath away. You will discover that life prefers you unhooked. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Strength appears as you refuse the bait of results. The more lightly you stay, the more quietly you hear. The more quietly you hear, the more simply you move. And the more simply you move, the more effortlessly the eye reveals and regulates. Keep your mind stayed, your heart consenting, your steps unhurried. Let presence bear you, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Only presence, only power, peace. Beloved, hear the seal upon this hour. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. When thou pacest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. This is not promise delayed, but presence declared. The I in the midst of you is mighty now, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Let this be signed across your heart as certainty, not as wish. Understand the blessing, lo, I am with you always, is not an external deity pacing the hallway while you handle life. It is your very life announcing itself as your here and now. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Identity is sealed. The government is grace. The atmosphere is peace. From this seal comes the sending. And it is simple. Go forth as transparency for the I. Not a fixer, not a fighter, not a pleader, transparent. Where transparency goes, fear dissolves because no second power is recognized. Presence bears you. Carry into your errands what has been given, peace as your climate, guidance as your lamp, non-reaction as your shield, quiet authority as your word. Let peace precede your steps down a grocery aisle as surely as into a courtroom. Let guidance replace guessing at the crossroads and at the kitchen sink. Let non-reaction keep your hands free when phones and tempers ring. Let quiet authority, few syllables, much substance, settle rooms that have forgotten their center. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in. He performeth the thing that is appointed for you. Keep the protocol exact and kind. At every threshold, doorway, meeting, screen, pause, 1 breath longer than habit. God, God, God. Whisper, speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. If a word rises, follow. If silence is given, carry it as bread. Do not look back for results. Look in for I. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. The next step, not the 10 ahead. The I within you goes before you to make the crooked places straight. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. Begin tonight. 5 quiet minutes. Enter your inner closet and close the door on outcomes and clocks. Speak holy truth once or twice. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Be still and know that I am God. I in the midst of you am mighty. Then lay the words down and listen. Do not watch for signs. Behold the one. If nothing seems to happen, government has shifted. Rise gently and let the night be kept by presence. So you are sealed and so you are sent. Fear not, little flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Go in peace, walk in guidance, refuse the bait, speak from quiet authority, only presence, only power. The eye bears you wherever you go. Peace.